Hey, check this out. Oh, hey, how you doing? My name's Jerry Basserman. These are some of my friends, but today they're extras on a video shoot. Hey, say hi, guys.
Hello.
See, they're good. Hey, today we're going to talk about Digidesign's new hard disk recording system, the Digi 001. I'm telling you, man, this thing is something. Check it out. Man, Digi, what they've done is taken the classic powerhouse Pro Tools software, right, and combined it with a new hardware interface, the Digi 001. This totally hooks you up for hard disk recording, right? At a sweet, sweet price. All right, so now here's what we have. The Pro Tools software, the 001 hardware interface. Put them together, you got the Digi 001 system. Okay? Pro Tools software, check it out. 001 hardware interface, coming right at you. And together, they are the Digi 001 hard disk recording system. Okay, now you try it. That's right. Perfect. But enough of that. Let's go. Today, we're going to record a whole tune, edit it, mix it. We're actually going to record the tracks in these rooms right at home. Then we're going to edit both audio and MIDI. And we're going to mix with real-time effects. You're going to love that part. Then we're going to master this puppy right out the door. Now, there's some special things we want you to notice during the production. The 001 is completely non-linear. Sounds scientific. What does it mean? It means no rewind time. Okay, anybody who's worked on a tape system knows once you finish something, then you got to hang around for the rewind. It's like, yeah, so how's it going? Yeah, good. What's this tune sound like? I forget. Okay, none of that. None of the tape decks have to queue up. Everybody's waiting around. Everything happens immediately, including real-time control of all effects. So you're playing back your tune, you're tweaking the EQ, you're bringing up the verb. You don't have to ever stop the audio. In fact, almost everything happens while audio is playing, so you never have to get out of the groove. You can always be in that spirit, in that mode, all right? Also, we don't have to observe the sacred ritual of track all the music and then mix it. No, we can begin to mix the minute we start getting some sounds. You can become the producer. Ow, yeah. Well, listen, everyone out there who's unfamiliar with digital audio workstations, you're going to see an incredible new way to get your music out. And everyone who's hip already to the DAW power, the magic, the glory, well, you're going to see the coolest, cleanest hard disk recording system anywhere near this price. What's that? Oh, we got to go. Okay, all right, enough of the yapping already. Let's do this thing. What do you say, John? Let's get going.
Let's do it.
Oh, man. Well, now we're going to go over all the components that come with the system, so you get some idea of what you get when you get the Digi 001. And it'll give you a good idea of how it connects to and from the computer. Isn't that right, John?
Let's do it.
He's such a pro. All right, well, come on in. Welcome to my studio. It's sort of living room studio. Hey, John.
What's up?
All right. Hey, what do these folks get when they get the Digi 001?
Well, first of all, you get the 001 I/O box.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
You get the I/O cable that connects it to your computer.
Okay.
Your Pro Tools software.
Give me that.
And your PCI card that works in a Macintosh or Windows 98 machine. And we're going to install it in a Macintosh G3 right here.
Cross-platform.
Open it up. Pull out the PCI card and put it into any available PCI slot.
Right. It just snaps in. Okay.
Snap it in and close the lid. And that's it.
Oh, and now you got like a different back pin. Now it's here. That's the connector cable you gave me, right?
That's right.
Goes there. And then what's these two things?
Those are the ADAT optical inputs and outputs.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. All right. Well, hey, my turn. Talk about the Digi 001 I/O box. Look at this. First off, you notice, very easy to use, inputs on the front. Those are real nice. And look, either mic cable like XLR or instrument cable, phone cable, so you can put that right in the middle. So it doesn't matter. If you're using an instrument and it's real hot, you can pad the signal, say a synthesizer, you might want to pad it a little bit. If you're using a microphone, we have really high quality mic pre's here, and you just control the gain right there. And there's also phantom power. This is 48 volts for condenser mics you might be using that might need that. You just pop that in. Then we have over in this section something called monitor mode. This is beautiful because let's say you don't have the whole computer system up. You just want to go into the studio or into the living room and play your synthesizer. Well, if you put monitor mode switch in, then anything that's connected to inputs 3 and 4 will now be sent to your playback system, and you can control the volume right there. And when it's out of monitor mode, of course, this is the overall volume for the main outputs of the Pro Tools. And there's your power light, and we have, of course, headphone output. For those late night sessions or when you just want to hear something, you can actually have a different control over the headphone mix than you do over the volume you send into your speakers. And let's look at the back panel now. Wow, that packs a lot. Starting over here, we have the digital ins and outs, SPDIF format, and the MIDI in, MIDI out. You get a MIDI interface on board the Digi 001 box. Computer cable, right? This is where the PCI cable connects, and then foot switch, that's when we want to punch in when you make a little bit of a boo-boo in one of those takes. You just punch in to record real easy with a foot switch in case you're alone. Now remember, the input 1 and 2 is on the front. Here's 3 through 8 on the back, and they're all balanced TRS inputs. All right, so you got 8 inputs, and then this is the whole output section right here. Monitor out left and right, that's for connecting your speakers, let's say, in your room. And then you have the main outputs 1 and 2. Actually, these are outputs 1 through 8. On the back. So you have 8 inputs, 8 analog outputs, and in fact, since the digital I/O is discrete, you can use those simultaneously. You have 10 inputs and 10 outputs.
Jerry, don't forget about the ADAT optical inputs.
Oh,
You've got an additional 8 inputs and outputs if you use your ADAT machine connected to the card, for a total of 18 inputs and outputs that can be used simultaneously.
Oh, right. So that means you can just record the whole band, like mic up all the drums and everything, 18 ins.
That's right, all at once.
That's sweet. Well, let's just hook this up, and here's the cable. I guess either end goes either place. So I'm just going to put that right there, snaps right in, and the other end goes in the I/O box. Just pop this guy. Now, those of you who've been paying attention may notice there's something missing from the back panel. That's a power connector. All the power for the 001 box comes from the computer, so you don't even have to plug this in with a regular power cable. We'll just set this up right here, and let's do some connections right now. We have a mic we're going to insert here as an XLR connection, and the instrument cable is my synth. Put it right there, and we are ready to rock. So, if you're completely new to the Pro Tools environment, now's a good time for an overview. You're going to be spending most of your time in 2 windows. Mix window and the edit window. The mix window, well, this has lots of features you'll find on a traditional mixing console. You have faders, pan controls, solos, mutes, inserts, and sends. And the edit window, the waveforms are displayed horizontally. This is the place you can completely get in there and reorganize all the material. I mean, chop it, channel it, cut it, squash it, munge it, expand it, anything you want. That's because of the nonlinear environment. Now, why don't we go check it out right now? We want to cover 3 important software concepts that really separate Pro Tools from the rest of the pack. So, we've installed the software onto the computer. John, why don't you take us on a little overview?
Okay, let's do that. I created a session a minute ago, and I put a couple of audio tracks already in there, and I imported some audio that was pre-recorded. So what I have here is a session with 5 tracks and 2 audio clips. Now this is the edit window within Pro Tools, and you can think of this as your tape deck within Pro Tools if you're used to using a tape-based system. The audio is laid out from left to right in a linear fashion, and you can also think of this as a word processor for audio. I can select a portion of audio by clicking and dragging, copy it, Command-C, and I can paste it anywhere else within this track or any other track for that matter. And of course, I can undo it or delete it because it's all non-destructive. So everything I do here is not going to affect the original audio.
So if that was like a beat, you could just like isolate it and then boom, boom, duplicate it and change it.
That's right. Let me try that again. Copy it, I'll paste it, and then I can duplicate that drum loop if that's what it was. Out as many times as I want.
Well, really? I'll try to do any of this stuff with a tape deck. Not working.
Forget it. Don't try it.
You can even tell, look, you look at these waveforms, that one's like quieter than that one, right? Because that's the amplitude.
Exactly. After you use the waveforms for a little while, you're able to recognize phrases and different sections just by looking at the waveform. It gives you a lot of flexibility. and quick editing. Okay, the other window that you spend a lot of time in is the mix window. And if you've used a mixer at all, this should be pretty straight ahead for you. It looks just like any other mixer, most mixers. If we start at the bottom of the mix window, all our tracks are named, and I pre-name them, but I can change the name by double-clicking on any one of the names and typing in a new name at any time. Next up the channel strip is the volume fader, and we have a numeric value section up above there. Pan fader, solo, and mute buttons, record arming tracks, and you probably noticed that any buttons I hit in this window are activated in the edit window as well. They're linked together. Our automation section, we've got 4 different types of automation, and we're going to cover that a little more in detail a little bit later. And our input and output sections, we can access any one of the 18 inputs or outputs on our 001 I/O box, or internally within Pro Tools software, any one of the 16 digital internal buses. Same applies for the inputs. We've got 18 inputs.
Oh, like 1 and 2, Mike Line, that's these guys right here.
That's correct.
Oh, amazing.
And then the buses.
Yeah, so without any cables, with just this one cable going to the computer to the box, right, you can completely route anything anywhere.
Think of it as your digital patch bay within Pro Tools. Yeah. Right above that, we've got our send section. This is just like sends on a regular mixer. We can choose any one of our external or hardware outputs or any one of the digital internal buses to get to as well.
Wow, you have this little window and it's like this big console, right?
That's right.
It's incredible.
That's right. The top section is our inserts. Now this can be used in one of 2 ways. You can use your software plugins.
There's your new rack, right?
Our virtual rack. We've got EQs, compressors, gates, reverbs, many things listed here that we can choose, and that list will grow and grow as you choose to add more things. Other thing we can do up here is our I/O. We can take advantage of any of the hardware you already have in your studio by plugging it into our 001 box and using the I/O section.
Yeah, so all those inputs and outputs you see there, they correlate to everything you have right here.
That's correct.
Right, so there's no cables, you don't have to go to a patch bay.
That's correct.
It's all internal.
That's right.
And you save it. Yeah, that's incredible. And you got the transport window down on the bottom there, right, for rewinding and move to 0 and stop. So you see where you're at.
Stop,
cool.
Play, fast forward, rewind, go to end, go to beginning.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we did enough orientation on the software. Let's get to this tune. I've got this drum part I want to do in MIDI, and should be pretty cool.
Let's do it.
All right. All right. We're just about ready to start recording now. So there's lots of ways to write a tune, and what we're going to do is work out all the parts in MIDI to sort of create the tracks, create the ideas, and then those will become our basics that we can cut audio tracks to. Now the MIDI engine in Pro Tools has been completely redesigned, and it is super cool. You can edit anything you want in the MIDI along with your audio right in the Pro Tools environment. Lots of the coolest features from various sequencers now on board inside Pro Tools. Check it out. All right, well, it's finally time to get to the music. Finally. And I wrote this thing last night. I want you guys to hear it. It's just a little guitar thing. It has a cool feel. And I was thinking today, you know, we could just add some stuff to it, have the guys come over, you know, put things together. It's already in Pro Tools, so it should be pretty easy. But why don't we work in MIDI first, because it's a lot easier to change things and figure stuff out. Did you hook up the MIDI?
I did. Let me show you what I did. There's 3 things that I did. All were really easy to do. Made the MIDI connections, made the audio connections, and then I installed OMS software that comes with Pro Tools software so that all our MIDI devices are recognized. The first thing I did was connected the MIDI output of our keyboard controller to the MIDI input of our 001 box. Connected the MIDI output to our MIDI input of our sound module.
Right.
I then connected the analog outputs of our sound module to inputs 3 and 4 on a Digi 001. That's all we needed to do as far as the wiring connection.
Oh, so the output of the sound module is going in here like, using this like a mixer.
That's right.
Yeah, cool.
And a MIDI interface as well. So I then installed OMS software, created a device for our keyboard controller and a device for our sound module. The Digi 001 was automatically recognized as a MIDI interface, and it was as easy as that. For Windows 98 users, it's even easier. It automatically recognizes the 001 as a standard MIDI device.
Oh, right on.
There you go.
Okay, cool. All right, well, you've done all that setup. Did you connect the neck bone to the jawbone?
I did that earlier.
You're a busy guy. All right, anyway, well, let's do some software things now to complete that setup, the marriage of hardware and software. We're going to make a new track, and this time, instead of audio track, we'll make it a MIDI track.
Okay.
Yeah. And then go to the mix window, and even as John was saying, the outputs of the sound module are coming into the 001, so we don't even need a mixer around here. We just need to have a new track, a stereo aux input, and that's where the audio outs of that box are going to show up. Let's just do that. I'll raise this, and remember here we're going to the input section. Remember all these inputs, right?
Yep.
Here's 3 and 4. Now the Korg is going to show up there. Let's see if it does. If I go to ow, my fingers come on. Anyway, we got a little xylophone there. All right, and you see, notice here, the MIDI input is measured here, and the audio output's measured there. So we are ready to cook. We'll go back to this window, and I'm just going to make this not large, but jumbo. All right. All right, so here's the notes. See that cute little keyboard? All right, but we're on a xylophone sound. We don't want to put xylophones to this. Do you think Jeff would like that?
No, I think we need some drums here.
Yeah, I don't think he's looking for the next like Balinese hit. We're looking for some kind of heavy-duty thing. And you know what? The kick and the snare live down here in the first octave, and that's down here. All right, cool. All right, now what we're going to do is set some of these controls so we get a click to play to and a count off so I know when to come in. All right. The click is right here, it's enabled. The count off's 1 bar, that's 4 beats. And right here we're telling it every time we loop around, we're not going to erase what was there before, we're going to add to it. So I can just start piling up a rhythm. All right. What we want to just do is go into record mode, I'll get 4 for nothing, and we'll begin. Hi-hat. How's that sound here? Let's just see. Yeah, my timing is kind of crazy, but you know what? It doesn't matter because we're going to be able to do in MIDI, just take care of all that nonsense. All right, for example, if you notice that first little MIDI note there, go up here and get my grabber tool. That's not on 1. All we have to do is just slide it back there, just like the audio.
There
just
it is.
Grab it and slide. You know,
Click
if I
and
had
drag.
to do that, of course, to each of these, it would be kind of manual, but we have a way around that. Like audio, I mean, just different tracks, now different MIDI notes. It's really easy to just choose anything I want, all right? And that's why we're doing this in MIDI. See, and then I could actually take this stuff and make this longer or shorter. You know, anything you do with the audio, you can do with the MIDI,
right,
which is really cool. You don't have to learn a whole new system. But the best thing we're going to do is select all these guys with my selector tool and get up here and do some quantize. Here we have this MIDI operations window, and this will now globally, for everything I selected, it'll quantize it all to a grid, like a 16th note grid. So it'll sound like I actually have some sense of timing. And we could actually sit here and tweak and turn on swing. Did you check those out?
I sure did.
Swing. You can offset the grid, like have the snare come in rushing the beat or dragging the strength. We don't have to quantize it 100%. We just quantize a little bit. Some keyboards don't even have velocity control, you know, and it puts everything in here as a 64 or something. Then you could randomize and make it sound more human. You know, change duration. Okay, change all the durations at one time, or transpose to a new key section of a song.
Sure.
That's really easy to do. Here's different ways to select notes, like it's sort of like find file, select all the notes that are below B flat 4 or something. Or input quantize, which I should have used in the first place. While I was recording, it would have been quantizing and I wouldn't have sounded so idiotic in my rhythm. Hey, MIDI in Pro Tools is really cool. Look at these new timelines up here. We have bars and beats plus real time. There, 5, 10 seconds. We have the tempo. Yeah, there's a lot in the MIDI here. In fact, check this out. We're only looking at the notes, but there's a lot more things we could look at, like the volume and the pan, the MIDI controller stuff, automated muting, velocity. Let's look at that. See these stalks? This is sort of how hard I hit the notes, right? So check it out. If I play this little hi-hat, now let's just turn that down. Just one note. Where are you? Where are you? Yeah, well now, I'm here. Or I can take all the snare notes. Look, I'll just grab them like this and draw a box around them, okay, and reduce them. All the snares come down, all the snares come up. So controlling your velocity after the fact, because you know when you hit the note with your thumb, sometimes it's like dun, 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 dun.
Right.
So anyway, you can fix all that. Or we could even go into regions mode. Check this out. Now region's going to be, let's just change our view. Okay, region, those are the two bars that I already played in, right? So now I'm going to just select this guy, and I'm going to say duplicate, 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 duplicate. And this means those two bars get plastered all over the track, right? And I could change something over here, put a fill in or whatever. It's so cool having the MIDI on board Pro Tools. Man, we haven't even showed half the stuff in here. All right, well that's cool. MIDI. Well, now we've got those MIDI tracks down. We have a pretty good idea what the groove is going to sound like. So let's replace those with real instruments. We'll finally get to some tracking in this session. And I've invited some friends along to breathe life into the parts. Of course, they're due like an hour ago. Musicians. That's cool, guys. I think we got enough. That was sublime. John, you were just kicking, and Jeff, you were so restrained but powerful, man. That was great. Why don't you guys get some drinks or something? I'm going to sort of talk to the folks about how we did that. All right, well, that went pretty smooth. It's always nice when music sessions go smooth. And the Pro Tools stuff just makes it really easy. Let me just get out of record mode here. Just option click these guys, and everybody goes out of record. Well, let's first look at the edit window, because as we said before, I mean, this is like the virtual tape deck here, except that you can see your tracks. I mean, imagine you're looking at those kick drums right here. Look at them. They look like kick drum tracks. Okay, you can tell exactly where the beat is on that. You could never do that with tape. Anyway, get back to our mixer window, because that's what afforded us the ability to use all 8 inputs of the 001 at the same time. And that's the beauty of having so much I/O on the box. And here's where we set it up. If you notice, up here in the bass channel strip, for example, I look at my input channels, and instead of those names that were there before, they're customized to this session. We went through and named them all, electric bass and guitar. I'll show you how you do that up here in setups, I/O labels. Check this out. For the inputs, here's all their factory names, right? But we can get in there and just customize this. In this case, it's going to take the word electric out. Here's all the different drum mics and stuff. You say OK, and that immediately is updated on your list here. So that's a really nice way to customize your studio. For example, you're using your 001 and you have your tape always in 3 and 4, and you have your CD in 5 and 6, and you have your synthesizer in 7 and 8. You just name those inputs like that, and then when you're doing a session, you don't think about what's plugged in where, you can see it. This is that virtual patch bay thing that's so effortless and unmessy, no cables. Anyway, we used a send as well. We talked about sends in the mixer before, and you can use them for sending to reverb plugins or whatever. But in this case, what we want to do is give everybody playing in the band their own monitor mix. So we use one of the sends right here, and here I have control with little faders like this, and I can even pan the parts. So somebody might say, hey, take the bass and guitar and pan them off. I want to hear all the drums in this ear. And that way you make everybody comfortable and they play their best. So that's it. I mean, the 001 and Pro Tools together makes recording a band really a snap. And now it's time to do some vocals, and we'll finish up this tune. Hey, Jeff! We're going to find the singer now. And Jeff! Get him in there and do some vocals. Jeff!
All right, I'm here.
Oh, cool.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do some vocals. That'd be great. All right, man the phones. All right, so basically what we've done now, get the mix window up here. Yeah, Jeff's channel is in record already. And notice the inputs now we've renamed them vocal mic, because we're actually taking his mic input into the 001. That's beautiful preamps on this thing. They sound great. They'll make the AKG mic sound really sweet. So we're going straight in, and we're going to use something called loop recording. This is going to enable us to work on the first phrase of the verse just over and over again. Jeff will be able to hear the same thing, try out a little something different. Music doesn't stop. Try it a little different this time. You know, whatever he wants to do, he can freely explore, and we'll just edit later. We'll take the best of all those takes. All right, so we got a little pre-roll on. We'll give a measure before the actual recording begins. There we are. Look at those icons. Loop record, loop playback. All right, you're ready, sir?
We are ready.
We're gone. Cool. That sounded great.
All right.
All right, man, I think I got it. You can take off.
Good.
Thanks a lot for coming today.
Oh, no worries.
All right. Cool. Well, we got him, and now we're going to split those out and check out, take them apart, and improve the performance. It's going to be beautiful. Now, one of the coolest things about Pro Tools is that you can actually create the perfect take, the perfect take. I mean, after all the times you've tried to do the solo, right? Do the solo, do the solo. You know, you try the solo the first time. Some parts perfect, some parts not so perfect. Third time, something's good, something's bad about every time you do the solo, do the solo. Each time something's wrong, but with Pro Tools, it's really easy to take the perfect parts of each, create the perfect take. You sound great. You sound like a killer player. Or additionally, let's say the band rehearsed last night. You have 1 minute out of 3 hours or something that worked really good, a thing that actually sounded good. You can build a whole tune around that. You try doing that with tape, it's almost impossible, but with Pro Tools, it's easy. Well, let's go see how.
Hello, we're going to get into a little bit of vocal comping here, but we thought it would be a good idea to show you Pro Tools edit tools first so that you have a better idea of what we're doing while we're doing it. Jerry, take it away.
All right, that's right. We're going to begin the session with a little orientation about the Pro Tools, located up here in the left top region of your screen. Basically, I'll show you the 3 sections. These are our modes, this is our zoom area, and these are our tools. Okay, so let's start off with zoom right away. And how do we view the data, whether it's small or large? How do we get it all on this one screen to be easy to see? Well, one thing we can do immediately, these are all tracks in small mode. I'll show you what I mean here. If I click on this little diamond, track height, if I want to make that snare a little bit bigger, I can easily do that. If I want them all to be that much bigger, I just hold down Option and do that, and they all get to be that size. If I want this vocal track to be much larger than that, let's go from small to medium to large. And now I really have a big waveform. And that really helps if you're cutting exactly on the beginning of a word or whatever. So that's one way right away to change the way you view the data. And now, check it out, these left and right horizontal zoomers, here we're zooming in horizontally, and here we're zooming out. So that's a really easy way to take all the tracks and be able to move through the timeline really easily. And then for the vertical zooming, I can say I want these to be larger waveforms vertically or not so large, so I can see their shapes a little bit better. And it doesn't change how loud or soft they are, it's just that we're looking at them in a little bit different way. Similarly for MIDI, you can use these buttons right here. Okay? Now you'll notice there's a little magnifying glass button there. That's a really good tool. If I just take it down here, let's see what I can magnify. Draw it along that area, and now I'm looking exactly at that area right there. Or let's look at that vocal and go like that. Or let's look at this. Now sometimes when you're zooming lots, okay, you can get to a point where you say, oh man, where am I? Everything looks kind of wavy gravy. So you say, I'm just going to double click on that magnifying tool and I'm back to my overview. Now, chiclets, I know you're going to point to that because I know you know.
Yeah,
we've been working together here.
Didn't want you to forget the zoom chiclets.
They're little buttons
My
there.
favorite.
Yeah. Here you can program, almost like radio preset stations, you can program zoom values. So for example, in number 1, I have my symphony number 15 compressed into a 1-inch space, and you can't really tell what's going on. It looks good anyway, though.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, number 2 is really zoomed in. This is a sample level down here. We're able to look at each of the samples and be able to work with that. Or number 3, sort of sitting on the fence, sort of zoomed in. Actually, the most useful chiclet we've seen so far. But however you want to do it, you can just zoom into that and say, you know what, I want that to be number 4, and then program it that way. Really simple. Let's come back out of here again. Those are our zoom tools. Now we're going to move to the actual editing tools. Those live right over here. Number 1, the waveform selector. So if I want to say, let's get in here, I'm going to zoom back a little bit. I want to zoom in here and select the silence here, or I want to select, you know, this vocal phrase right there, or anything. The selector is how you do it. It's an I-beam that you draw from left to right.
Just like a word processor, pretty much.
That's right. And then whatever is selected, you invoke some function, and it works just on that. Exactly. Now here's my grabber, the hand icon. This means I can take this track and move it. Let me undo. It'll snap right back. Or I can go down here and take just one of these little guys and move that over. Okay? Undo that. If I want to duplicate it really easily, I hold down Option, click it over there, and I've copied it. So the grabber tool is very, very good for lots of things. We also have a pencil tool. I'm going to show you a demonstration of how to get rid of a digital click. There's one in the vocal track. We're able to just draw it right out at the sample level. And so I'll show you that a little bit later, the pencil tool. And then there's the trimmer. For example, see this dead air at the end here? There's really nothing happening there, but the recording happened after the snare stopped. So if we don't want to hear that in this session, we'll just trim it back like that. Okay, I can undo that. Or from the front, notice how it looks from the front. Okay, super simple. Now you might say, wow, I'm doing all this editing. I have to keep reaching up to here to grab the tools. We have something called the Smart Tool, which is all of these rolled into one. It's the Tootsie Roll tool. Everything's in there. So if you wouldn't know that that was on, you'd say, huh, looks just like a selector. I'm able to basically do that. It looks like the little I-beam there, right? Here we're selecting the nice big track. But if I hold down Command, it becomes the grabber. So if you got your left hand on the keyboard where it should be, then you're able to powerfully change those functions. Now notice what happens here. If I go up here, I'm going to just zoom out a little bit more, it becomes a fade-in tool. And if I want to fade in the snare drum just a little bit at the very beginning to have the snare come in, I know you didn't play it that way, but it might work better if you had. But we can undo it. That's not a problem.
Your artistic freedom, once again.
Yeah, it's screaming out. Then on the bottom here, if we take two contiguous files, lots of times with digital audio, if you're, for example, when John's comping the vocal together, a lot of times you put things together from different takes. You might want to do a little crossfade to make them flow real smoothly. And with this tool, notice how at the bottom, instead of just a fade tool, it's the crossfade tool. And I'm just going to take that, take a little region like that. It's going to make a crossfade between those two very smoothly going from one to the other. Okay, just undo that.
Very quickly.
All right, now we're going to cover the scrub tool. That's that one right up there. It looks like a speaker that you can move across the waveform. Let's just get a little horizontally zoomed out at this point and work on the vocals a little bit. Okay, there we go. Scrubbing just means I can move in real time as fast or slow as I want through the audio to hear it. So, backwards, forwards, or really slow. You might be looking in a snare track for something that's ringing, like what's that noise around that time? Or in this case, it's like, what's that stuff before he sings? Oh, that's just a little breath mark or something. So scrubbing is for finding things.
Kind of like scrubbing the reels, tape reels over the tape head.
Rocking
in the old days.
Yep. In the old days. Oh, back in the 30s, wasn't it? All right, well, there's your scrub tool. Yeah. And now, let's go up to our modes here. We've done all our tools and all our zoom buttons. Let's go to the modes. Give an example of slip with the selection tool. Let's go back and just do a little, get back up here to this track. Let's say I'm cleaning my tracks, right? And a lot of times it's a nightmare with tape, right? Have you ever cleaned tracks with tape? You got all this noise that's not supposed to be there. You want to clean up the mix.
Oops,
and you have to, yeah, you have to record over the silence that's not so silent. Anyway, really easy to do that stuff with the selection tool in Pro Tools. But notice in slip mode now, when I say delete on that, it's absolutely taking that recording part away and creating a new region over here. Now you have two regions instead of one. But if I'm in shuffle mode and I do the same thing, now it takes the second part, still creates another region, but it brings it back exactly to the end of the first one. So the basic difference between slip and shuffle mode now with the grabber tool is slip mode does not constrain you to anything. You can move anywhere you want, okay, at the sample resolution. But shuffle mode does. It always moves you, let's say, back so that the beginning of what you're moving will butt exactly up against the end of something else. All right, next is spot mode, which is a very exact mode. If I take my grabber tool, let's say, and grab the snare track, it tells me exactly where I'm at in minutes and seconds, or samples, or bars and beats. So for example, it says, yeah, the snare region begins on measure 8, beat 3, click 849. And if the producer says, you know what, have that begin on the downbeat of 10, I just type in 10, immediately it goes there. So it's a really exact mode, isn't it? Cool, and finally, we have grid mode. Grid mode is great because once you've set up your time base and you know your bars and beats are working, etc., you can set the grid over here, let's say, to 64th notes, okay? And if I zoom out a little bit here, now when I have the grabber tool, let's move this in these little increments that are exactly 64th notes. Or, for example, exactly quarter notes. Now I'm moving this exactly in quarter notes. Or measures. Probably the most useful one is the measure. We'll go up here, 1 bar, and now it can only move in large resolutions by a measure. So it's really easy to relocate any of these tracks by a measure. All right, just undo that. And there you have it, the 4 modes. And I have to say also, I'm using my mouse to select all these radio buttons, but the fact is we have lots of keyboard commands that cycle through the effects as well, so you don't have to use your mouse just to grab those guys.
Right.
Cool.
That really speeds things up a lot.
Indeed. And so John, you want to take us through comping those vocals?
I can't wait.
All right, well, right on. Check this out, the perfect take. All right, well, we got John in the chair now to explain to us more about that vocal comping.
That's right. Now that we've been through the edit tools, we're ready to comp a track together. We had Jeff give us 3 vocal takes earlier, so we're going to piece together the best portions of each one of those takes and form the perfect take.
Right on.
We were in loop record, so we were recording without ever stopping, kept Jeff in the groove of the tune while he did each one of those 3 takes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to audition all 3 of those takes on the fly by simply clicking on the audio region, and we get a pop-up menu here when I hold down the command key of the 3 takes that Jeff did. So we'll check out the first one here.
Wow.
And we'll play.
So they're layered one in front of each other.
That's right, and we can shift through any one of those on the fly while we're playing back. Let's track number 2 there. Okay, and number 3. You notice those takes vary a little bit, have different melody, a little bit different phrasing, so we're going to piece them all together and make a totally different take altogether. What we're going to do is we're going to take this audio region and we're going to split it into 3 different sections. So this first edit is going to go right here, and we're going to do that with a Command E. And we're going to make the second edit at this location here. Now
Command E, is that like create region?
That's called separate region. Thanks for asking.
Region. All right, cool.
Splits an existing audio region wherever your cursor is. So now we've got this original take here, but we split it into 3 different regions. Now we can choose any one of those regions. We'll do a little playback so we can audition the first region, and we'll get the pop-up menu, and there's our 3 first takes. Okay, and we'll choose the first take for the first portion of this track, and then we'll go to the middle section. We'll audition that, and we'll choose the second take for the middle portion, and then we'll go to the third section, and we'll choose the third take. So now we've got 1 complete take made up of 3 different original takes. So let's check that out from the top there and see what that sounds like. There we go. Kaleidoscope angel wants to trip with me. So again, we've combined the best portions of 3 different takes to create the perfect take.
Well done, and it's all on 1 track, so you're not like looking at all these different tracks, all these different takes. It's on a single track. It could even be going through a single set of effects or whatever, hear the exact same thing every time.
Same EQ on all of them?
Yeah.
Very convenient. Try that with a tape deck.
Yeah, not very easy. All right, well, thanks, man. Comping coming from composite, right? We're compositing many takes together.
That's right.
Cool. All right, well, now we're going to show a little something different. I'm going to go into the chair.
Okay, we've gone through several of the edit functions within Pro Tools. Now, Jerry's going to take us through the nudge zone.
Right, nudging from the chair. All right, yeah, we're going to use those tools to do some things that are enhancements to tracks or fix problems in tracks. The first one we have, called snare snafu, is definitely a problem. I don't know what happened, John.
I set you up for this one.
Oh, you meant to do this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it sounds like the snare is really on. Oh yeah, a little gas bubble. Sorry. Yeah, let's listen to that again. Oops. So, you're saying to yourself,
thank you.
Get to work. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, what I'm going to do is just, I know it's this guy here I want to change. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can take a look at him and just play that and make sure that's what I want there. As there's one snare hit, beautiful. And what I'm going to do is Command E, which means separate the regions. Now, the regions, I mean, if you record one continuous track, you basically have one long region.
That's right.
But the minute I start to separate them and make them separate events, like this snare hit is a separate event, it's its own region right now. And this list over here under audio is a list of all the regions that are used in the session. So anyway, now that it's a region and it's selected, I can just get in there and nudge it back. Let's go up to the nudge window. Here's how you set it up. I can say, okay, I'm in minutes and seconds, and I think what I have set up there is 20 milliseconds. Every time I hit the minus key, I'm going to move this event back in time 20 milliseconds, or the plus key would move it forward. It's a great way to tuck things in. I could also do it in bars and beats, musically relevant terms, or samples. But in this case, 20 milliseconds is about the amount that I'd like to nudge each time, and you listen to it play each time, and is it right? So let's try that again. We're going to just nudge it back like 60 milliseconds and listen to see what that does. Still a little bit late. Go back there, just nudge it a couple more times. I think we'll be there. Maybe one more time, and we snuck it in. Just like that. So that's what nudge is good for. You could actually take the whole snare track if you wanted to, and then just say, hey, if we nudge that a little bit early, it'll sound like the drummer's pushing the beat a little bit, or if we nudge it back in time, it'd be like, yeah, he's laying the beat back, and we can change the rhythm of what the drummer played.
Or the feel of the tune.
Or the feel of the tune. So that's pretty powerful. That's another nudge-worthy thing to do.
That's right.
Now, my next little problem in here, it's not really a problem, John. I love what you do. I love what you do on drums. You're a real creative
love what
guy.
you do for me?
Yeah, but when I hear you come in on the snare for the pickup, you know, I'm feeling a little bit lonely that the kick didn't play too. I want a little bit of a syncopated kind of a jeka.
Okay.
So what I want to do is not send John back into the drums to have to record it again.
I'd be happy to do it for you.
Hey, because you're sweet, but you know, not everyone's like John. And the fact is, maybe the guy's left, and now I have only this recording. So basically, I want to just take this kick sound, and maybe we'll extend it out to here so it has some kind of stuff on it. And all I really need to do, again, separate the region, use Mr. Grabber, and now I'm in grid mode. I've actually switched from spot mode into grid mode. And I'm going to be moving by increments, bars and beats increments. And let's say we're going to move by eighth notes. We're going to option duplicate this guy back in time, maybe right here. This isn't going to be very syncopated. It'll be like sh, gum, boom. Okay, let's try it. Okay, and if you want a little bit more syncopated than that, you change the grid to 16th note, grab that, and switch it back to a 16th note. And now listen, we're going to have a... I like that. Shikam, boom. Okay, so you can actually change the part. Here we've taken a kick from one part of the tune and added it to another. So that's pretty groovy. All right, where'd you go? Oh, so now my third example is going to be this problem we found. You were in the other room when I checked this out.
Boy, that's an ugly spike.
A bit of a digital spike in the vocal sample. Listen to this. Ooh, sounds like a little snap in a record.
Yeah.
Again, the vocalist is gone, and what are we going to do about that? All we have to do is use our pencil tool to get out of that little snafu. I'm going to choose the magnifying glass and zero in down to the sample level to be able to draw that thing out, grab the pencil, and just use my skills to be able to try it again.
Kaleidoscope. Beautiful.
Give me 5. Wow. All right, well, there's just some examples of how you can use the pencil tool, the copy paste, the separate region, all the tools we went over, they all serve your needs in Pro Tools and the 001. All right, well, we've looked at lots of microscopic ways to sort of fix things and deal with editing in Pro Tools, but actually now we're going to talk about memory locations and markers. Ways of navigating a larger file, right?
Yeah, and how we use them in a more global sense. So markers are very similar to tape deck locators. If you've ever used a tape deck before, they can store locations within your session, but they can store several other things as well that come in very handy within your Pro Tools session. When you hit the Enter key on your keyboard, you come up with a new memory location window, and those options are listed here. You've got marker, which is a time location, selection, which is a selection of audio that you may have made, and those are our time properties. But in our general properties, which are not related to time, you can store zoom settings similar to our chiclets up above. You can store pre and post roll times, track show and hide, which is a feature we talked about earlier, track heights, and group enables. All these functions teamed together give you quite a bit of flexibility and power for really focusing in on whatever you happen to be doing at the time.
So you're saying that either it's a locator point or it's like a quick key setup where you hit something and all of a sudden you get a view, or both. You can
That's right.
assign those
Use
both.
them in combination with each other.
Cool.
What we've done here is we've set up a couple of markers, and we want to show you how easy it is to drop them in on the fly while we play back. You can also do this in record mode as well. So while you're recording something in, something comes up you want to remember or come back to, you can hit this Enter key and do it on the fly as well. So we're going to go to our first marker at the top of the tune, and we're going to drop a couple in.
All right.
All right, Enter key and drums is our first marker. And there's guitar for our second marker. And we're typing in the name of that marker as we go in real time, listening to playback.
Yeah.
And you'll notice once we've done that, those markers appear in our markers ruler with the title, so you have a visual reference of those markers you've created. And so when you're looking at your session, you can look at verse or chorus or Jerry's boo-boo in the middle of the second verse that he made there. So you know you can come back to there and straighten that up later. Okay, cool.
All right,
So
cool.
there's
We
a
got
couple
all those.
examples of markers. Another example of markers is using markers and our mixed groups all mode in a more global method. So what we're going to do here is take advantage of our markers, and we're going to go to our markers that we created earlier. This one here is located at a midsection, kind of a breakdown section within the tune.
The mystery music.
That's right. We've got all selected in our mix group, so when we go to any location within this session, you notice we have a cursor that goes across all the tracks, both audio and MIDI. So midsection in, we'll give you a little audio play here. Okay, here's our breakdown section.
Yeah.
We like this breakdown section, but we decided that we'd like to have it in another location within this section.
Yeah, it's sort of like the energy builds up to this point, and then we get the breakdown, sort of dramatic, but I'd rather see it just, you know, keep being energetic and building.
Okay, cool. All right, so that was our midsection in locator, and we also put a locator at the end of that section. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and click on the midsection out locator, and now we've got a selection across all of our audio and MIDI tracks.
Right.
And I'm going to zoom out to give you a better global visualization of that here.
Right, so we can see the end of the tune. Cool.
Okay, so now I'm looking at a zoomed out view of this session here. So I'm going to copy that selection, and I'm going to make sure we're in shuffle mode, and I'm going to remove that breakdown. Let me give you an
From there.
idea what it sounds like, just so we can hear the before and after. There's the breakdown section with just drums and bass and a little bit of guitar. Okay, that's.
And you're playing it back with a little pre-roll there, so we can hear how it goes into it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to remove that selection.
Remove it, remove it, remove it.
There we go. And you'll notice that all the audio to the right of that selection shifted to the left and closed the gap that would might have existed had we not been in shuffle mode.
Shuffle mode, yeah. Slip mode would have left the gap. Shuffle mode brings it back.
That's right. So let's give a little quick audition here, see what that sounds like now.
Oh yeah, so the energy now keeps building instead of diving down.
That was a seamless edit there, right on the downbeat. Okay, so now what we've done is we found another location that we'd like to try that selection on, and we put a locator there as well. So we're going to go to that spot, and we're just going to paste that audio in. There we go, and you'll notice that selection that we pasted in is highlighted, and you'll also notice that the audio to the right of that locator shifted right to make
So
room.
it's an insert.
Exactly,
Yeah, 'cause
to
of
make
shuffle
room for
mode.
the audio pasted in. Now, if we listen to what we have here,
That's amazing. Now the mystery section's coming in a completely different part of the tune where it wasn't played at all originally, but it sounds really natural. That's incredible.
that's right. And we actually talked about maybe extending that selection and doing a fade out over that selection. So what we can do is just do Command D and duplicate it out a couple times.
Command D, Command D, and then we'll fade out.
Now we've got that 16 bar selection duplicated 3 times, and we can.
Bring in the sitar player.
That's right, man.
All right, jam out over that. Well, that's really cool. We've completely reorganized the song really easily. I mean, once you start editing and you're naming locations all the time, because it's just as easy as hitting enter, you get all these ideas about what you can do with the tune. It's really exciting. Pro Tools makes it super easy. Now, normal signal processing usually involves a lot of outboard gear, hardware, rack mount gear. But in Pro Tools, we do things a little bit differently with software plugins. There's tons of EQs, compressors, digital delays, you name it. They're all built into Pro Tools. They're easy to use. You can even automate every single parameter. Of course, you may have lots of outboard gear you really like. Tube compressors, vintage mic pre's. They're also easy to integrate into the system, no problem. Most likely though, once you start using these software plugins, there's no going back. The mixer in Pro Tools has got to be the easiest and yet most powerful console you can get anywhere. I mean, the automation is incredible. You could spend $1 million on a console and not get better automation. And yet, it's so easy to use. I mean, even a monkey could do it. What? It's okay, it's a joke. All right, so why don't we just play it and check it out. Cool. Yeah, man, really cool. We've been working 3 days on this tune now. Just from that simple guitar idea, we built it up with tons of tracks, background vocals, you name it. Stuff we probably don't even need, but we use it anyway. All right, and what we're going to do now that we've done all the editing and all the recording, etc., we're going to just start to mix. And mixing is a really fun process. We've actually begun to mix already. But during the recording, you know, set a few levels, bring on a couple of plugins. But now we're going to actually formally begin the mix. And to do that, we'll bring up the mix window. Now, you remember where we took that piece of the chorus before and we cut it and pasted it into a new section? Well, that's what we were using was mix groups here. Check it out, all. And by using all the groups, we're selecting all the available tracks there. Okay, but that's just the default. We can actually create our own. For example, we created one called All Drums. There you go. And what this does when it's grouped means I can lower the fader and all the drums go down. Raise the fader and all the drums go
up.
That's right, okay, because they're grouped. So now in the mix when they say, just give me more drums, see the drums already sound good with each other level-wise, and now you're just bringing the whole kit up and down. You can even have groups within groups. Like here's the overheads. See, look, you even have toms here. We have a couple of groups within a group. It's a regular Plato's retreat of groups over here. So the groups are really powerful and they're easy to make. Check it out, we got 1, 2, 3 background vocals selected. I hold down Shift, I click those guys, and I just say either Command G or go over there and say Group Selected Tracks.
Easy as that.
Yeah. BG Vox. I had Latin in high school, okay? We'll use the letter F. There's 26 available for each session because there's 26 letters in the alphabet.
Last I checked, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll never run out unless you want to do 27, in which case, you know.
You'll run out.
You'll run out, yeah. Okay, anyway, we just say okay, and notice, there we are. And now we can bring in the background vocals easily, just like that. That's the power of groups and mixing with groups.
Cool, but wait, there's more. If you hold down the control key, you can adjust any one of those faders within that group without affecting the others, and then let go. And
oh, you mean without turning it off and turning it on again? You
that's
just,
right.
Oh, that's
a little
wild.
Quick adjustment.
That's the clutch
ability
thing.
Right there.
Okay. But the real meat of mixing is actually about arranging the levels of each track and the pan position so you can really easily and clearly hear the music. And the easiest way, of course, to set at least initial levels is to use the fader, just like that, or the pan control. That's true. When we recorded the drums, we had already set those levels, and so we were building the mix. But now we're going to enter a zone of automation.
The automation zone.
That's right. Why don't you show us how you do that, John?
Okay. Pro Tools has got 4 different modes of automation, and you can access each one of those modes right on each channel strip within the mix window or the edit window. We go to Auto Read, Auto Touch, Auto Latch, or Auto Write mode to get to all those modes. What we're going to do here is put this particular channel in Automation Write. We'll solo the channel. Writing automation is easy as just starting playback and riding your mouse. And there we go. We'll stop playback and we'll start playback again and see the automation move that we just wrote.
Doing the dip.
If you notice up here, I'm now in auto touch mode, which means now any playback or moves I make on this particular fader will update that automation information so I can constantly increase my automation on the fly as I go through playback.
So you could actually continue on if you did this section, then you use touch to pick up where you left off so there's no jerky
That's
motion.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I let go, it returns to its previous automation level. Put it back into automation read, and I'm ready to go.
Cool. Well, you know what I want to do? I want to get in there and look at the edit window, because if we change from waveform here to volume.
And we've got a graphical representation of our automation there.
And John, I thought that was very musical. That's what I want to say from the outset. But what I would like to do is I heard something over here. It was a little loud there. I think that's going to breathe a little better.
Sure, you could do that, or you could use the undo feature to put it back.
Yeah. Yeah, then it wouldn't breathe as well, but you know, you could do that. Or look at this, you could actually keep that whole shape, select everything, and say, well, what John did was really musical up to a point, but then we just need a little less of it. You could do that as well.
Sure, or you could do a Command D across the whole track and duplicate it out several times.
Oh, I see. So now we have that really musical idea that was just a little flawed, but going on for longer. Okay, or we could actually take this now, and here's an idea, take the whole thing and just delete it and, you know, flatline it.
Sure, the possibilities are endless.
Oh, they're endless. And also, not just volume. We could do that whole rigmarole with pan. Watch this. I'm going to use one of these writing tools. Instead of freehand, I'm going to use my triangle tool. Check this out. Oh, whoa. Whoa, that looks kind of scary. But it's not. It's just triangles.
I got to give it to you. You're actually pretty creative using the grid mode on quarter note increments. So we've got panning going back and forth on the beat.
Oh, well, thank you, John. Yeah. I mean, thanks for not like holding a grudge about what I didn't like about all your stuff.
You didn't do that on purpose, did you?
No, I just found it that way. Somebody set it up. Well, let's check it out and see if it works. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that. Yeah.
Whoa, stop.
Okay, we'll stop that. And of course, you can edit any of that. So the automation in Pro Tools, whether you like to work with the visual graphic thing in the edit window, or whether you like John, to touch the fader, move it, and then update it, right? You can do automation really easily.
That's right.
And the thing is, it's always this easy, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But it's really intuitive. And if you buy a super expensive console that, you know, they're known for automation, but you get this manual this thick that you got to go through, it's not so intuitive.
That's right. Not only can you automate volume and pan, but you can automate plugins as well.
Mm-hmm.
Plugins.
Plugins! Plugins! All right, time to cover plugins, our favorite subject. Now there are two kinds of plugins. Audio Suite. But Audio Suite's cool anyway. Listen to this. Audio Suite is a file-based plugin format. And I'm going to show you the menu here. You see how long it is. Chorus, flange, limiter, mono, stereo, echo, delay, normalize. Some of which come with your system from Digidesign and some which come from third-party plugin manufacturers. And what we're going to do is use an Audio Suite plugin to completely rewrite a file. And actually what we're going to do is have it written backwards. I have this idea at the beginning, you know, when it's starting out with the loop and the kick snare first comes in.
Sure.
But then the whole song doesn't hit till there.
Right.
When it comes in, it's going to come in backwards, like my feet are in goop and there's an earthquake going on, and all of a sudden,
I'm feeling your artistic freedom surfacing again.
I'm starting to bubble. Okay, so what I do is I just highlight the kick snare, choose Audio Suite reverse, and it's real simple. You just say process or process. Turn it off here. Let's check it out. Huh? Maybe we could throw a cymbal in here too, like announce that thing.
Yeah.
So that's what Audio Suite does. It's amazing. It's actually pretty fast. It may not be real time, but it's powerful.
If you think that's fast, check this out. The real-time Audio Suite plugins, or RTAS plugins, allow you to tweak the plugin parameter right during playback, so you can hear exactly what you're doing as you go. And also, you can automate the plugins to have different effects at different times within the song. You like that hand motion there?
Yeah, it's like you're panning.
Yeah. Let's take this vocal track, we'll solo it, and let's play it.
Oh, let's give him a little delay.
All right, how about a little medium delay?
Oh, yeah.
Now I can adjust the mix parameter in our delay. Again, all the parameters within any of the plugins are fully automatable, and the way I do that is click on the automation button that's in every plugin window, and we get a list of all the parameters of that particular plugin.
Oh, these were all the sliders on the plugin.
That's right, and of course that list will be different for each plugin because of the different parameters. But I'm going to choose Mix here to automate. I can choose any one of these or all of them if I want to automate all the parameters of this plugin. And we'll click OK, and you'll notice that that particular slider has a green light on it. That means that it's been automation enabled.
And I know what you're going to do. You're going to start it out dry, and then you're going to bring it in as his voice drips. You're going to, you know, you're going to do that delay thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know you.
All right. So we'll put it in automation touch mode, and you'll notice that the mix parameter, the one we automate enabled, is active or red, or lit or ready to rock. And we'll do playback. Kaleidoscope angel wants to trip with me. And we've automated it. Kaleidoscope angel wants to trip with me. Kaleidoscope there we go. All right. And of course you can edit that in the same way you would with any of the other automation parameters. We go down to
it shows up there.
Medium delay. Now we've got a graphical display of our automation.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, because, you know, frankly, I felt like when you were up there, you know, I was just...
And of course, as in volume automation, the undo function works here as well.
Of course. Yeah. Well, that's cool. We got this really psychedelic psychedelic line. I mean, I like your reading on the lyrics.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's insightful.
Yeah, thank you.
But actually, what I'm thinking now is that the tone needs to change. Maybe we could fill out his voice, maybe fill out all the voices with some ambience or something. Oh, you know me now.
I'm a step ahead of you. What I did here is I created a stereo auxiliary input and titled it Verb Return. And I set the inputs to bus 1 and bus 2. Now we're taking advantage of the digital internal buses within Pro Tools software. We created a send on each one of the 5 vocal tracks and routed them to bus 1 and bus 2. And we're going to send a little bit of the signal of each one of the vocal tracks to our stereo aux. And we also put a reverb or deverb on that stereo aux. And now we have reverb on all our vocals.
Well, it sounds like you're in a church.
Actually we're in a hall, a large hall, but if you like the church, we could always switch to the church there if you like, yeah. So now we can, again, automate any of the parameters within Dverb, just like any of the other plugins, any and all the parameters, as well as our auxiliary input, so we can automate the returns there.
Beautiful. All right, well, let's keep working on this mix. We got the vocals done, we got the drums done. Let's just play it back and see how it goes, all right?
Keep it clean, it's a family show.
Yeah, that's right. We're going for that G rate. Oh, there you are. Let's see, where are we? We've recorded the song, we've edited it, we've mixed it. Oh, it's time to master. Mastering is the process of just preparing your music for either distribution on a CD or maybe posting to the web. Now, for making a CD, we're going to cover another Digidesign program called Masterless CD. And if you're preparing the files for the web, you can save right from within Pro Tools into any of the popular audio formats. So let's check it out. What do you say, John?
Let's do it!
My man. Hey, well, I finally finished my mix. There it is right there. Didn't use all 24 tracks, but I did use 18. Sounds pretty good. I know these guys are going to want to do a mix, eh?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Jeff will come over and mix. I mean, when you get to the mix process, it's so creative and fun. You got all that material to work with in the plugins. I mean,
we'll have to do the club mix, the extended dance mix, the remix, the
margarita mix,
Jerry mix, the margarita mix,
lunatic fringe mix. You got to cover all the markets.
That's yours.
Exactly. All right, so we're in the mastering process now. We've got a mix that sounds good, but it's got all these tracks. We want to turn this into a good sounding stereo mix that we can go somewhere with, either make a CD or maybe upload. I have a website where I can just put some music files and people can go there and hear them. It's a good way to get your name out there. Hey man, it's groovy. I'm telling you, you should check it out.
It's the 90s, man.
It's the 90s, indeed. So we're going to do something we haven't done quite yet. A couple of things, actually. One of them is create yet another track, and this one's neither audio nor aux, as we've created, or MIDI, but a master fader. Okay, and this is a stereo master fader. It's going to make a stereo mix. Throws it there at the bottom. I want it on the top, so to change track placement, we just bring it up to the top like that. All of a sudden, bibbidi-bop, snippity-snap, it's at the top. And we'll make it a medium height. Notice there's just volume in this guy. The master fader is all about volume. So I'm going to get in there and do a little quick automation, because one thing I haven't done in my mix yet is a fade out at the end. And it's going to be about there. I can go tweak it later if it's not quite right. And we'll start it a little softer and have it build. This will be like the overall form.
I hear you.
It's symphonic. Anyway, let's bounce over to our mix window. But before we do that, I want to select the whole tune, because we're going to use a feature called Bounce to Disk, right? Bounce to Disk is going to take everything. Let me just move up here and get my loop in there. Yeah, everything from the beginning of my selection to the end. And there's the fade out, so we only need that. Bounce to Disk is going to capture everything we hear to the hard drive and make a stereo file. So if I have some of these tracks muted, you won't hear them. If I have the automation in all the tracks, which I do, you'll hear that. If I have the plugins going, you hear them, the results of those.
Not to mention your MIDI modules coming in, or any of your outboard gear that you have routed in through your 001, that will be included in the bounce as well.
Right, right. So your whole system gets integrated into the bounce. So let's check it out. Go over to the mix window. And now on the left side of the screen, you'll see there's my master fader right there. Okay, and it's just like on your hardware console. If you have a mixer at home, it governs all the channels. Okay, I have some automation in there now, so the minute we start the tune, we're going to be able to, even if I move it, it's going to return back up to what I have it set at. All right, well now a real fun part before we do the actual bounce. I want to use some plugins right on the master fader. Right? And these plugins are going to affect the whole mix. It's like using one software plugin to affect everything. Okay, you do this often in the mastering process. EQ is a big part of it. Okay, 4-band EQ. And then while we're listening to it, what I hear is I want the high end to be sort of opened up. I don't know what it is about the mix.
Gotta love the high end.
Gotta love that high end, and we're just going to boost it mercilessly here. 12 dB, just so I can find... Okay, we're not going to do that. Even though we could automate that, we're not going to do it. Check it out, 6 dB at 6K. Now bypass. Now EQ. You hear the top end. It's like almost like we took the ceiling off here.
I'm feeling it.
The cymbals go in. And not only that, we're going to put in a little of Digidesign's Maxim. Maxim is Digidesign's maximizing limiting software. And basically what it's going to allow us to do is really deliver a lot of signal consistently instead of with a lot of dynamic range. Like check it out, on the outputs here, it's jumping like about 10 or 12 dBs from the soft stuff to the hot stuff, right? Well, what I'm going to do is say the output ceiling should be -1, and then watch these master faders, because what we do here is going to influence what gets delivered there. I bring the threshold down, and it seems like we're turning the music up, right? Bring it down a little more. More signal, more volume, right? Sounds better and better. Okay, and notice the output faders, check it out. Almost consistently now, 2 or 3 dB only. That might be a little bit extreme. We'll bring it back from 8 to about 6. If you're going to deliver this for radio, John, you know this really well. How about hearing those AM broadcasts of your music, right? Ouch! If you have soft signal, yeah, doesn't sound good. If you deliver this kind of a file with a lot of signal, it overrides that.
Hotter signal, better sound quality.
Yeah. All right, well, there we go. We got maximum in line here. We got a righteous level on the master fader. So now, let's go to our bounce to disk window, and we're just about ready to rock here. Here's the bounce dialog box there, and it defaults to exactly what I want, stereo, because in this case, the first thing we're going to do is talk about sending the music to a CD. John's going to show you masterless CD, Digidesign's CD prep software. What I'm interested in, since I have a website, I'm interested in sending this thing to the web. I'm going to do a convert after bounce. So let's check out what those settings are. I talked before a little bit about many formats. Well, the native format is Sound Designer 2, right? So look what else we can do. AIFF, WAV, Sound Resource, even a QuickTime movie. And if you want to use streaming technology, you can save it even as a real audio G2 file. People click on the link on your site, immediately start streaming that music, right? You don't have to wait for, oh, this will take an hour to download. That's pretty cool that that's right on board Pro Tools 001. All right, so we're ready there. And we could save this, keep this in 24-bit mode. I mean, we've been in 24-bit mode the whole time. That's why it sounds so lovely. But the fact is, CDs are made with 16-bit resolution, so we're going to choose that. Maybe next year we'll make a DVD and choose 24-bit, but this year we'll do 16-bit. And we're ready to bounce. So I'm just going to call it Jerry's Fandango. And put it on the drive and say save. And then everything that's selected will get bounced. Right on, 4 minutes, 33 seconds. Oh yeah, we're done.
There it is.
Cool.
We just finished our bounce to disk. Now we've got a single stereo file of our entire song. Now what we're going to do is import it into Masterless CD. Masterless CD is another application by Digidesign that allows you to combine any song or songs in any order that you want. So you can lay it out just how your CD is going to end up. So we've got a few songs in here already. We're going to audition them here. Lost at Sea. Okay, cool. One of my faves. Here's another beautiful.
Well, it's the end of the millennium, you know. Fusion.
Pomp and Circumstance. Okay, cool. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to add our newly bounced song to this list here. Be there, Jerry's Mix. There it is, and it came in at number 4. We're going to send it to number 1 with a bullet, and there we go. And let's audition it.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. So now we've got our 4 songs in our list. Let's go over a little bit of the features and functionality of Masterless CD. This is the main window of Masterless CD. Our far left, we've got our number of items, or number of songs in this case. Our CD is going to have four tracks. This is the start time of each one of those tracks. This is the name of each one of those songs or tracks in the item name column. Item length and end time, all valuable information when you're trying to lay out your CD.
Right.
To the right, we've got our left and right gain columns. This allows us to adjust the volumes of each individual item so that in case we got some songs that were at different levels, we can make the volume level of the whole CD consistent. So it's
right, and you get this peak hold there on the LED, so you can see one significantly different than the other.
That's right. That's a good point, actually. The meters up here in the upper right-hand corner allow you to monitor the levels via the meters, so you can identify visually the levels there. Now to the right of our gain columns, we've got a crossfade. This is actually really handy as well.
Oh yeah, you can do like a DJ thing, you know, where one song is playing or track's playing, and it's cross-fading with another, a whole different kind of music, but keep the dance floor going, have the whole CD be continuous.
That's right, exactly. And in the length column, this allows you to choose how long of a crossfade you want to make there. You can make it as short as several milliseconds, or none at all if you prefer, or as long as several seconds or more, however long you want to do it. Okay, we've got our song in the master list, we've got our #1 hit in the #1 position, and now we're going to burn a CD. I've got my blank CD, and I'm going to put it in the CD burner that's attached to our CPU, our computer, our Macintosh blue and white G3. And let's burn. I should add this also, that master list CD actually interfaces with our burner and writes the necessary PQ subcode to create a Redbook standard audio CD. So in a few minutes when this is done, we'll be able to take this CD out and play it in a CD player here at home, in the car.
Any player, yeah. You don't have that problem where all of a sudden your one-off doesn't work here and it does work there.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, we can send it to the duplication facility too. It's quality disc, so we can use it for any one of the CD needs we have.
Oh yeah, or to Mom.
CD needs.
Mom hears all my mixes.
All right, here we go. Let's check this out.
Burn, baby, burn. Hey, we did it.
We're done.
We did it. Give me another one.
The fruit of our labor.
Everything, the whole tune done on the 001 system, right? In Pro Tools, Digi 001. That was incredible.
And masterless CD.
Burning the CD. We're done, baby.
That's it.
Yo, well, good job.
My work is done here.
Well, I feel like we kind of know each other. We've been through so much. Setting up the system and recording audio and MIDI and going over all those awesome Pro Tools features, editing, mixing, processing, even mastering your music for a CD or to put up on the web. But the most important thing we covered was how easy the system is to use. It's not about learning the gear, it's about making great music. The Digi 001 and Pro Tools make the fastest, easiest, and most affordable system on the block. For the Digidesign dealer nearest you, check out the number on the screen or visit us at www.digidesign.com. Hey John, what do you think? All right. Thank you very much for watching. For John, Digi, and myself, keep on track.